guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And in today's video, I'm going to do a review of our first 6 weeks. I want to tell you what went well, some things that we changed, different things like that, just to let you know how the first 6 weeks went. And I'm also going to give you my opinions on the human body unit from Gather Round Homeschool. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stick around and see all the great things that I share. Well, I say they're great. I hope they're great and I hope they're helpful. You can stick around and see all the helpful things that I share throughout the year. So let's get into this review. It is so hard for me to believe that we've already finished our first 6 weeks of homeschool for this year. They have went so well, it's kind of scary. But I think we were all just itching to get back on a routine because we've taken such a long break. And this was just the perfect 6 weeks. It worked out so well. So let me share with you what we used, what we thought about it, and that's it. Okay, so our read aloud this 6 weeks was Out of My Mind. This was recommended from Brave Rider Arrow Guides, and it was also recommended in the Gather Round Homeschool Human Body Unit as a read aloud. And you guys, we loved this book. I wasn't sure what my son would think about it because it's not really me. He likes Harry Potter and things like that. And this is about a little girl who has a photographic memory. She is not able to walk, she's not able to speak, but we fell in love with the character and we fell in love with the story, and I knew it was a good book when my son said, I really wish they'd make a movie out of this book. He said they made one out of Wonder, I hope they make one out of this. So we loved Out of My Mind, and I definitely recommend if you're going to do human body to read this. This has been a great read aloud. The other thing we read aloud, I'm trying to do 2 Tuttle Twins books each 6 weeks. I wasn't sure if we were going to like these either, but these have spurred such great conversations. These are right up my son's alley. He has questions like this all the time. So we read The Law, the Tuttle Twins and the Law. And we read the Tuttle Twins and the Miraculous Pencil. And we learned about economy, and we learned about everybody should follow the rules, you know, and things like that, and why we have rules. And so we've loved these, and the PDFs that come with them when you purchase them, those are a lot of fun too. You could print the entire workbook. I mean, there's a workbook for each one of these, but I just printed 2 pages for each book, and we did like a word search, and we did decode a message, and there's all kinds of options in there, and I printed the discussion questions, and we really enjoyed these, and we're looking forward to using them the rest of the year. And then for our elective, we used Doctor Academy. This, you can buy this on Amazon, and I'll try to link all this stuff below in case you want to try it out. This was an elective, and remember, in our homeschool, electives are just for fun, and so if we didn't get to it or he wasn't interested in it that day, we just didn't do it. So we did a couple of pages out of this, and we really just didn't get to it, and that's okay. We'll put it on his shelf, and when he's interested again, we can pick it back up. So these are a lot of fun, and they are a fun add-in to the human body unit. Now, before I get into Gather Round, I want to talk about what math we use. We use teaching textbooks. This is our first year using it, and I was kind of unsure if it was going to work for us. We did math lessons for a live-in education for the last 2 years, and it worked fine, but we were ready for a change, and so we tried teaching textbooks, and like I said, I was concerned because he has ADHD, and the thought of all those problems can be overwhelming. And when we had previously tried teaching textbooks, he didn't want to do it. And so I wasn't real sure, but it has been so successful. He actually starts with math and asks to go ahead and get started. I'm typically, you know, we don't get started till around 10:30, but for the past couple of weeks, at about 9 o'clock, he's like, hey, can I go ahead and do my math? And I'm like, what? Where did my son go? The one who hates math. He really likes it. Now, I can't say that he loves math and that he's always going to do this, but for the past couple of weeks, it's been really, really great. He really enjoys it. I love the fact that if he has a question about something, he can go back into the lecture and watch it again. I'm trying to teach him how to take notes from the lecture into his notebook so he doesn't have to go back and watch, but it's great that he can. And he loves showing me the grade book. That is his most, he calls me in there and he cannot wait to show me what grade he made. And we don't keep grades, but he really enjoys showing me what he scored on the lessons and on his quiz. So I'm calling that a success so far for this first 6 weeks. We are loving teaching textbooks. All right, let's get into Gather Round. So we're actually using two different things from Gather Round right now. We are a Gather Round family. We've been using it since last September when she released North American Birds. We love it. Now, one thing I'm going to say is we are not one of those families that goes out and buys all the extra stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. If you love buying all the books and all the puzzles and all the games and all the hands-on stuff, that is totally great. Because remember, what works in your house may not work in my house or the house down the street. For us, we keep it really, really simple. I saw dissections, which my son would totally puke if I wanted to do a dissection. I've seen so many great things, so keep on keeping on. If that's what you're doing and you're having fun and it's working, go for it. But in our house, we do not do any of the extras. I keep things very simple. We do experiments and things like that, but we keep it really, really simple here, and we still have a great learning experience. And that's what I want you to know. You don't have to run out and buy all that stuff and still benefit from how great Gather Round Homeschool is. So let's talk about government. We started the government unit. This is what it looks like. This is a mini unit in case you don't know. They are still 20 lessons, just like the full units, but the amount of reading in the teacher's guide and the amount of work the children are asked to do in their notebooks is a lot less. But the quality, oh my goodness, you guys, the quality is amazing. I have learned so much from this unit that I did not learn in school. I have learned so much so far, and we've only done 6 lessons. We're taking it 1 lesson a week, very slow, and we're just diving into that lesson, and we're taking it all in, and we are really enjoying it. Just like with the Tuttle twins, a lot of discussion, a lot of questions, and my son has really learned a lot, and so have I. So definitely, if you want to try something out and you might not want to try a full unit, look into this mini unit because we have really enjoyed it and learned so much. So you get the teacher's guide, and when you buy this mini unit, you get all the levels, and I just printed upper elementary for him, and I'll show you. This is the scope and sequence. I know you're not going to be able to read it, but look at all that's being covered in a mini unit. I mean, that's amazing to me. And there is also a reading log. We don't really fill out reading logs, but they're in there. And then your page for the day, like this was for lesson 1, so you have a notebooking page, and then you'll have an activity on the back. His favorite so far has been the debate. I swear he's going to be a lawyer one day. He's an excellent arguer. And we got to debate yesterday in lesson 6, and he loved it. So well, not yesterday. When we did it last, I don't know why I said yesterday. When we did it last, he really enjoyed it, so we're just going to keep on going until we get finished. So we are loving this unit. I definitely recommend it. Now, let's get into human body. So I know a lot of people may not have gotten to this yet. This was kind of towards the end of last year when they released this, or you may be excited about the new stuff that's coming out, but I definitely recommend this unit. I want to share with you the things I loved about it, some things I had to modify, and I just wanted to talk to you about this unit. So if you're new and you've never heard of Gather Round, it is a unit study approach, and each month they come out with a different unit. This is from year 1, so all of year 1 is already out, and you can get the teacher's guide and then the notebooks you need for your kiddos. I print mine at home just because I only have 1 student, and that's easier for me. And I don't want to get into all the details of what Gather Round is. I have a ton of videos on my channel if you want to check that out. But we used the human body for the first 6 weeks of school. And so let's get into it because a lot of you might have some questions. Okay, first off, the human body unit is so thorough. I mean, it is packed full of information about the body. It has so much information in there that sometimes I had to read it more than once just so that I could get the information to be able to share it with my son. So it is full of rich information. So that's great. You're getting a very, very comprehensive and thorough program when you get this unit study. It was amazing to me. And I'm going to be looking down because I have some notes. The illustrations are wonderful. Let me show you what those look like. You can also, let me show you these posters. These posters, they come in the back think of the teacher's guide. They're going to be in the back in the appendix, but on the Gather Round website, you can actually order these in color. I've seen people hang these up. I just pulled them out for reference. When we were on that part of the body, I would have these out as a reference, but you could laminate these and you could hang these up. And like I said, you can get them in color, but I didn't need them in color. They were perfectly fine in black and white. And then in the teacher's guide here, I'm trying to find an illustration for you. So this was all about cells and skin. And so they're bright colors. They're pictures that you just want to look at. They're labeled very well. We would use the teacher's guide to label in his notebook. I would hand it to him and say, hey, use this to help you out. Wonderful, wonderful illustrations throughout the entire book. Here's the one for the brain here. So the illustrations are just as lovely as they are in all the other units. All right. Another great thing about it was the hands-on activities that are mentioned at the end of the lesson. Those are so easy. I love a curriculum that is open and go, that I don't have to buy a bunch of stuff to be able to do it. It's just, hey, open it up, read this lesson, move on. And that's what this is. This was awesome. The hands-on activity actually suggested that you lay your child down like on a big roll of butcher paper, trace around their body, and as you study each system of the body, your child creates that system. Say you're learning about the lungs. They would create the lungs out of construction paper and add them to that cutout of themselves. How simple is that? That's things you already have around the house. Now, if you look behind me, I don't know if you can see it, but over there hanging on the door, we had a skeleton that I actually purchased on sale last year at the end of Halloween. So if you are going to do human body, you might want to wait until Halloween stuff goes on clearance. We named him Frank. He's hanging back there, and we added all the organs and things to him as we went through the unit. And I haven't taken him down yet, so I probably need to do that. So you can do that. You can buy your own skeleton. You can do whatever you want to, but it's very simply put to just do it on paper, and that's what you work on throughout the whole unit. And anytime there's an experiment, it's always things that are around your house. You do a taste experiment, and it's with food that you already have at your house. Everything is very, very simple and laid out for you, just ready to go. And that's what I appreciate about these units. Also, there are wonderful video suggestions throughout the teacher's guide. As optional activities, or it'll say watch this video. And the great thing is every video that I used throughout this unit is linked in the app. So if you're not using the Gather Round Homeschool app, you need to do that. Now, I cannot speak of that for every unit that's on there yet, because some units have been used more than the other ones, and some people don't know about the app and they don't know that they can share links and things. But I do know that the human body area of the app does have tons of links and resources, and every video that it tells you to watch in here, plus some extras, are linked in there. So if you're doing human body, you can go to the app, you can click on the lesson you're on, click on the link, and it'll take you right to the video, and they're all in one place. So check out the app if you haven't done that yet. So all the videos that I used are linked there. Also on the app for human body and the other units, you're going to find crafts, and you're going to find movies, and you're going to find other things you can do with your kiddos. So you do need to check it out. If you need some extra ideas to go with this, the app is the place to go. It's wonderful. So definitely do that. And so the other thing I really love about these units is I can add what I want to it. Like I added a couple of experiments that I knew my son would enjoy. I added those to it. And then if it gets to something that I don't think we need to do, or I don't think he'll enjoy, or we just don't have time for it, we can take it away. So you don't have to do it all. You can add to and take away and make this exactly what you need to. So those are just some things that I love about it. Now, the next things I'm going to talk about, these are not things that I dislike about it. These are things I noticed when we got to this unit, and I had to change some things up a little bit. First of all, if you've got very small children and no older children, I'm not sure that this unit's for you, and I'm just being honest. This was some hardcore stuff. This was like central nervous system and technical words, and there were times when we had to take a break just to let my brain rest from all the information that was in here. So I don't know that I would recommend it for families that have very, very small children. If you have older kids with small kiddos tagging along, The great thing is you can always check out books at the library, or like I use Epic. And so if I noticed it was going over my son's head, or he was like totally lost with what I was talking about, I would go and find a book more on his level, and that's what we would read instead of the teacher's guide. So that's just a suggestion. Don't ditch this completely. If something is going over their head or they're just not quite getting it, find a book that is more on their level and read it to them, and you're still going to get the same benefits. They're still going to get exposed to it, and that's what's important. So don't be afraid to like pull in other things to help them understand it. You also could probably spread some of these lessons into 2 days, because sometimes my son would get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that was included in the lesson. And I really thought we probably could have done this over 2 days. And so we would take a break in the middle of the lesson and do something else and come back to it, because it was a lot. It's a lot of information. At this point, my son is still unsure of what to write on the notebooking page, and I don't know if it's just because it's a little different than how it was when we first started, and so it's a little more blank and a little more left up to him, and he has a hard time with that. So one of the things I would do, and I don't know if I'll be able to find one, of course, when I'm trying to show you, but one of the things I tried to do, I'll show you on this one. Just to kind of help him out, if you have a kiddo who's not sure how to do notebooking pages, is I would kind of write down some ideas of what he could notebook and what he could label, and then we would go from there, because sometimes they just need a little bit of help. They don't know what to write. They're not note takers like we were, you know. I mean, I remember taking notes in college and learning how to take notes, and he's only in 6th grade, so he needs a little bit of help, and so I do have to provide him with some prompts, and I go ahead and write those in there. Or I'll make suggestions when I'm reading, like, hey, that'd be a good note to write down, because they just need a little help sometimes. They just don't understand what note-taking is. So don't be afraid to do that, or to do some narration where your child orally tells you what they learned and you jot it down for them. Those things are totally okay. Do what works for your kiddos. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so here's what I did. Because there was a lot of information, one of the things I noticed is I was losing my son, and I'm like, I've got to break this up. So if you've watched any of my past planning videos and things like that, I mentioned that I would go through the teacher's guide at the end of the week and be prepared for the next week. I would go through there and I would mark the places, and I'll show you with this one. I would mark the places where I wanted to stop and do something else. So we would read from the first page to here, and I know it's hard to see because it's in pencil, and then we would stop and do a page out of the notebook. We'd go ahead and get something done out of the notebook. Then we would read and we would watch a video, or we would read and we would do a science activity. And breaking it up totally helped him. It gave his brain time to process what we just talked about. It got us up and moving around, and it really helps. So don't be afraid if you think your kiddos are zoning out or it's too much and they're causing trouble and having behavior problems. Don't be afraid to break up that reading and do something else. So, you know, it could be, hey, let's read to here, and then I'm going to show you this video, right? Let's read to here, and then we're going to go play outside for 5 minutes. Whatever you have to do to break it up, do that, because it really helped us, and I think I'm probably going to do that going forward because it helped him tremendously. Let's see. So I already mentioned choosing a book that was easier for them. Also, a good thing that I did is I would give him a word to listen for. I'd say, hey, what's your vocabulary word that they're mentioning on your notebook page? Listen for that word so that you can take notes on it. So it kind of got him to pay attention a little more than he would if he was just sitting there listening to me read. So those were just some of my thoughts. I love Gather Round Homeschool. I love it. I mean, I can't tell you how it's changed our whole entire house, our whole entire outlook on learning. We love it, and I love this human body unit, and I definitely recommend it, and I hope you love it too. I want you to check out the app because it's amazing, and it has so many great things on there. Another thing that saved my life during this time was Google Classroom. I've talked about how I use it very, very simply. I'm sure there's people that know way more about it than me, but I use Google Classroom to organize videos or research pages or pictures or whatever I need for each lesson. I hope to have a video coming out soon showing you how I use that. It's just really, really easy, and it would be a good place for you to house all of your stuff to use for Gather Round Homeschool. So I think that's all I want to talk about. I sure hope that you subscribe and you come back for more. I will say that I'm changing it up just a little bit for our next unit, which we're doing North America. If you watched my second 6 weeks curriculum, we're going to change up the student notebook just a little bit. And so I hope you stick around to see what we do. I'm so excited about it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to share it with you. So if you have any questions about any of the things that I talked about today, the app, anything, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.